Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to a brand new Free Tip Scout live stream with me, Free Tip Scout. And on today's stream, we're going to be continuing our Road to Glory Pauper to Podium series. So it's episode 25 of this really big challenge that we've set ourselves since the start of the year, where we were putting £50 into the game of Sorare, and we were basically building a team of budget Pauper players and looking to transform them into a team capable of hitting podium prizes in the game. And it's been a real challenge so far. We've had a lot of ups, we've had a lot of downs. And at the moment, I think we're in a good place, pretty much with our squad. But I think what we need to start doing now that the European seasons are finished, is we need to now start looking at bringing in some more European players to our squad. Because we started to exit out of Europe around a few months back. And we need to start getting a head start on getting some European players into our teams for the beginning of next season. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be scouting for European players that we could maybe try to bring into our Road to Glory Pauper to Podium squad. We'll also be looking at Pooky as well. So if you missed that yesterday, we were looking into the brand new Web3 sports prediction game of Pooky, which I absolutely love. I'm having loads of fun playing it. The ROI in terms of the earnings that you can make from it are fantastic. And so we're going to be spending a couple of hours as well today, diving back into Pooky, talking a bit more about the game, explaining it a bit more for you guys that maybe don't know too much about it. And we'll also be getting some predictions going. So analysing some games and trying to work out what the correct scores could be so that we can set ourselves up. This is the Cap 220 team for this weekend from our RTG Pauper to Podium. And again, we've got some issues here because this isn't like exactly a team that I think can smash it. But we just hope that everyone here can play, that they start, and that if we get 5 starters here, then we give ourselves a chance to be in line for rewards, right? That's all we need to try and focus on at the moment, just getting 5 starters and taking a little bit of a risk, of course, with Christian Cruz. But in this fixture, and when you look at Christian Cruz here, on average, defenders have scored 56 against this opponent. It's a home game. When he plays at home, he usually delivers way better scoring, which you can see here. We're just filtering by the home fixtures for him. And he's got 2 goals, 5 assists in 38 games, an average of 51.5, an AA of 12.2. So he doesn't really do badly. He does quite good, actually, when he plays at home. But that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're definitely going to add him in. We're going to add him in, and we're going to add him into here and here, because I might personally want to just pick him up anyway, given his price. The missus puts her foot down. The missus says that I want this. And the old adage of happy wife, happy life kind of kicks in. You then either move to Saudi, you make a lot of money, but then your wife is miserable as hell and then makes your life a living hell. Or you just kind of say, look, we're going to make 50 million, which is still a huge amount per season for the next 4 years, to move to America. And then my missus, my wife is going to be way happier. The wife always decides. Exactly. You want your wife to be happy, because if your wife's happy, then you're happy, right? If your wife's really unhappy, then how the hell are you actually going to be able to perform on the pitch when your wife is giving you grief at home, right? All the time, because you chose Saudi Arabia over America. So I get that. And also if he's got kids as well, then it also makes sense, right? And to be fair, look, if he's in America, then it's also not too far away from Argentina as well, is it? If he's over in Saudi Arabia, it then makes it a bit more trickier for him to be getting back into Argentina, maybe seeing his family over there a bit more. So being in America just means that it's a bit closer to home as well, isn't it? So there's a lot of positives and a lot of reasons why he would go to America, right, over Saudi Arabia. You'd have to say probably the only big reason why he would go to Saudi would be the money, right? Over everything else, that was probably the one big reason. So think if he done, and if you guys done like a list of pros and cons, the big pro that would massively outweigh a lot of the cons would be the money for Saudi Arabia. But then if you then looked at Miami, probably there would be way more pros versus the cons, but the money would be just significantly less, right? I like that if he's going to go to Miami. How much is Lionel Messi right now? His price is probably really shot up now, isn't it? So the window of opportunity to pick up a Messi is probably gone at a cheap price, really. It's starting to spike again, isn't it? So yeah, I'm kind of a bit frustrated there because I kind of wanted to try and pick up a Messi when he was about £60, and he did drop to £60. And I was saying to you guys, wasn't I, quite a lot, that like, if he gets less than £100, then I will seriously look at putting some money into the game. I just didn't have the free disposable money, really, to kind of like just throw into the game to pick up. Let's go back here for 3 months. As you can see here, his price really dropped to about here, look, about £60 was pretty much the lowest that it got to. But then for this period here, it was pretty much around all under £100. Then kind of like here, it was over £100. So for the past, say, month, he's been under £100, which I think has been the right time to pick up a Messi. And of course, if he goes to Saudi Arabia, I think then his price would drop a little bit, because there would be a lot of managers that would then be reactionary and thinking, oh God, like, we've now got a player that's not going to be covered in the game. But as I've said before, I think if he goes to Messi, and if you're really smart about it, if he goes to Saudi, then Messi would be covered in the game. So either way, if he goes to Saudi, if he goes to Inter, he's going to be covered, because Sorare will cover Saudi if Messi goes to Saudi. I'm pretty sure about that. I would bet my bottom dollar on that he goes to that he gets covered if he goes to Saudi. But from what you guys are saying, it looks like he's going to be going to Inter, Miami, and from this latest article on Forbes, it also looks like the reports from the journalists are also indicating the same. Cool. Right, let's keep going back, guys. Let's see here, look, he's labelled as the first choice goalkeeper on Football Manager, even though kind of this season it's been a little bit in and out of the team. His stats, his attributes are actually not too bad. They're not amazing. His jumping reach is high at 16. His reflexes are 13. His kicking's 13. His handling's 10, which is not amazing. His command of the area, communication, aerial reach is decent, because he's quite a big goalkeeper, isn't he? Look, he's 6'4". He's 13 stones. He's quite a unit. His concentration's 12. His decisions are 11. Positions 11. So he's quite a nice kind of mid-range type of goalkeeper. He's not amazing. Yeah, he's not outstanding, but he looks like he's okay. And then if we have a look at his attribute analysis here, you can see that, yeah, communication and his mental stats attributes are pretty decent. Aerially, he's pretty good. Physically, he's pretty good. But then in terms of his actual goalkeeping stats, like distribution, shot stopping, it's all. So let's just say that I trust you, right? And I agree with you. And I think that also Orlando could win here, right? What I want to do then is I want to try and pick a Pooky ball that offers me a bigger boost in the home win, right? At the moment, we've got this Pooky ball selected that's offering me an additional 5% boost when the home team win. Do I have another Pooky ball that offers me a bigger boost for the home win? Let's have a little look. We do, look. So this one here offers me less boost for the home win. So we don't really want to select this Pooky ball if we do feel like Orlando City are going to win this game. We actually want to select this ball here, because then we get an additional 5% to our score here if we think that Orlando win, and then they do end up winning. So this is the Pooky ball that we want to select here. What we can also see with this Pooky ball is that we can see that we get no additional points boost for a draw. So ideally, we don't want this to be a draw, right? Because if it's a draw, we're not going to get any additional points boost. We don't really want it to be an away win, because, I mean, technically, if it was an away win, that would be better for us, right? Because we would get a 15% boost then, but we're actually thinking that Orlando are going to win this. And we're going to check it in a minute, guys, to run through the things that you need to look at when you are trying to predict scores for teams, right? And for matches. So if we felt that Colorado could win this game, then we would still probably pick this Pooky ball, because we have a huge amount of boost here in the away win. We've also got a huge boost for over 2.5 at 13%. If it's a low-scoring game, we're not going to get a boost at all. So ideally, we do need it to be a home game or a home team win or an away team win, but then over 2.5, which will give us a massive boost to our score. And then we get a box standard 5% additional score boost if we get the exact score right. So I think this is definitely the Pooky ball that we need to select. You can see here we get a bigger exact score boost, right? We get a bigger boost to the exact score, and then we get actually a bigger boost to under 2.5. So for some of you guys there that were talking about how you think it's going to be under 2.5, if I felt that this was going to be an under 2.5 game, then maybe what would be better is that I would then choose this Pooky ball to get a bigger percentage boost on the under 2.5 score, and then a bigger percentage boost on the exact score. But I kind of already feel like this score line could be over 2.5. So I'm just going to keep this Pokeball in place for now. And then we're going to look at it, right? So I haven't really spent any time looking at the Japanese League. And I think I want to look at the Japanese League because when I'm looking at my teams in Champion Asia in Sorare, one of the things that I need to be thinking about, right, in Champion Asia is how many goals are going to be scored on what's going to be the likely outcomes, right, in some of these matches. And so when I look at Fukumore, for example, this fixture here, like we want to play Fukumore, but then realistically, does Fukumore have a chance to get a clean sheet in this game? And equally, it's the same with kind of like Songbum Kyun. We've got Songbum Kyun, right? And he's a goalkeeper that we want to play the most in our Champion Asia team. But does he have more of a chance to keep a clean sheet than somebody like Jakub Slovik? And so that's why sometimes when I'm doing the analysis here into some of these games in the leagues, when I do that analysis, I then try to apply that to actually my teams in Sorare, because there's a synergy. Because if you know how a match is going to go, because you look into it and you look hard and closely behind some of the details and the stats into it, then it starts to inform you as to how strong or how bad some of these. And as I say, with Pooky, for example, I've literally only bought one Pokeball, which has cost me $22, which I still think is fantastic value, actually. And it's a Pokeball that I own, I keep forever. I can play and predict as many times as I want, forever, basically, as long as I have this Pokeball. And I've already made back 50% of what this Pokeball cost. So even if I wasn't going to now buy new Pokeballs tomorrow, which I am going to do, by the way, guys. So as I say, when the new drop happens tomorrow, in 21 hours' time, we are going to be live, and I'm going to try and buy these new Pokeballs live so we can see what we get. So we're going to try and get 2 commons. We're going to try and get 1 rare. And that's why I've got all this this balance up here ready for it. And I'm going to be super ready for it, as in like we're going to be all set to go to try and get these Pokeballs like 10-15 minutes before the actual drop. Because, yeah, if we are not ready, if we're trying to get ready a couple of minutes before, we may very well actually miss the opportunity to get these Pokeballs. It's been really useful for me to work out not only what we would predict here for Pooky, so we would probably do 1-1 here to try and get about 183 points. It would also mean that if I had a different Pokeball, I would now be thinking, okay, I need to put a Pokeball in here, as in select a Pokeball that's going to give me a higher chance for a draw outcome here than it is for over 2.5. Because this Pokeball is technically wasted in this prediction here. Because this is a Pokeball which is going to score big for over 2.5. But we're not really expecting this to give us over 2.5 here in this fixture. But I just have one Pokeball right now, which is another reason why I can't wait to pick up another, like basically 3 Pokeballs tomorrow, hopefully. Because then I can start to like customize my Pokeballs and level them up in different ways. So then I have another Pokeball that I can go harder on the under 2.5, right? And then maybe one which is an under 2.5 and a draw Pokeball. So then in these situations, I then select that other Pokeball that's been massively boosted for the draw outcome and then under 2.5. So that then if this ends up being a 1-1, we can then get a huge boost here from the 151.6 points, which are the base points, so that then we ultimately would get, like, say, points of over 200 here instead of 183, which 183 in Pooky isn't really a lot because the odds here for that outcome are super low. So if you can then boost that to over 200 by having a Pokeball that you've really customized and boosted in these specific outcomes, and that's going to be huge for you. Huge. So we can't do it right now because we've only got this one Pokeball we can play in the Pro Leagues, but that's the plan for tomorrow. I'll make this Pokeball my over 2.5, and then we'll get a second, hopefully get 2 other common Pokeballs. I'll then make one of the other Pokeballs a under 2.5 draw Pokeball, and then the other common Pokeball I'll make like a more away, so like we'll put more boost on the away win, and then maybe more boost on the exact score as well. Yeah, so this is what I would do for Kawasaki-san Fresh, Hiroshima. And having looked at that now, it does make me think that this is maybe going to be a bit wasted here, because when we look at the way Nobu Rosato has been scoring so far this season, we have a little look at this here, right? He done really well here in a home victory, right? A 2-0 win. He got a goal and he got an AA of 51.7, which is amazing. We know he's capable of that. In a loss, he has not done that great, right? So 2-1 loss, bad. 2-1 loss, bad. Then here, a 1-0 win does relatively okay, not amazing, right? So it could also potentially be 1-0 here for Kawasaki against Hiroshima. But in a 1-0 win here, away, it's kind of done okay, but not amazing. Then in a big 3-1 win here, he done good. And then in a draw, a 1-1 draw, he actually struggled. A loss, he struggled again. 2-0 loss, he struggled. In this game here, which was a win, there was a lot of goals scored, so he's always going to score badly here. But then in a 0-0 home draw here, he done relatively okay again. So he's kind of done better when they've won. And then when it's been low scoring, he's done okay in his AA, but he's not really smashed like a 70 or an 80. Not really in these kind of tight games. Now, he's only just really returned from injury. But with Nobu Rosato, he has this really high scoring ceiling where he can do that. He can hit like a perfect score of 100. But I don't know whether he's... So you see here, look, 1-0, low scoring game. It's a nice home victory for them. He's had to really work for that, right? This was back in February 2022, so over a year ago. 4-1 here, so the big victories, he tends to score 60 points or more. A 1-0 here and a 1-0 here, he kind of edges to 70 points, which is good, really good, right? And then the big victories here, he kind of struggled actually, funny enough. It's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit tricky. I'm not against him being the captain here, especially after a perfect score of 100. When you look at the opponent's score, on average, opponent defenders have scored 56 against them. So this also kind of looks quite attractive. But then it's going to be a case of, well, I'd probably then would need to look a little bit closer at the Hiroshima game. Not the Hiroshima game, the Consadole game. This one here. Because with Fukumore, when he plays away from home, doesn't tend to do that great. So then maybe we do actually captain Nobu Rosato, because then at least he's got the home game advantage. We can probably have a little look at this as well when we go into the lineup builder here. I've started to do the prediction here on Pooky. I'm not sure I would have actually changed the captaincy. I think I might have kept it on Nobu Rosato, but having looked into this game a bit more, as we were kind of like doing a bit of a mock prediction for this, it has made me feel like this is probably going to be a low-scoring 1-1. Something like that. Maybe it could be a 1-0. Not expecting it to be too crazy. It does make me feel like there is less chance for Nobu Rosato to maybe outscore someone like Fukumore, which is why probably Fukumore is going to get the edge. We haven't really looked too in detail in this fixture here, but I think I just want to give you guys an example of how when you are kind of doing your predictions for Pooky, you can actually get something out of it that helps you in your Sorare game as well. The insights you get from looking into the games do inform you better about the picks that you're making on Sorare. And that's the kind of also the big point about this. It's not only that it's a great game and that there's amazing ROI here, it's also a game which I think has a really big future. And I love the Pooky balls that you can get, and I can't wait to get us some more tomorrow. But it's a game that will help complement your approach on Sorare as well, because you have to look into, you don't have to, but when you start to look into the detail of the games, as in like when you're trying to get a prediction for it, you will learn a lot from looking into the odds, like here on a bookie site, looking into the forms of the players and the teams, looking into the head-to-heads, the recent forms, their home and away records, and then also then looking into how well they do at scoring goals and conceding goals and all that sort of stuff. So really helps you. It helps me a lot. And as I say, I kind of usually go through this process quite a bit with my Pooky predictions, which has been helping me get into the top 50% quite consistently. What I really need to do, of course, is I need a better Pooky ball. And once I have a better Pooky ball tomorrow, I should then be able to start climbing the leaderboards a bit higher, because then I'll be getting bigger boosts, right? Sorare's always changing, right? So they're always adding updates, they're always adding things that will basically pull you from one way to the other. And often what you kind of don't want to do, and you shouldn't really do, is you shouldn't be getting pulled from one way to the other just because there's a new thing that's going to be added to the game. Especially if you're a budget manager. I always sort of say stay in your lane. Yeah, so if there's something that's happening around you in Sorare that's like a big kind of a big thing, then look out your window, basically look to the side and have a little look and see whether it's something that you actually would be interested in, but don't feel like you have to be pressurized, or don't get that FOMO that makes you think you need to switch lanes to then all of a sudden start shifting towards that. Basically stay in your lane and try to pick up and try to dive into it and indulge in those other new areas if you can and if it works with your strategy. And this here is great. I think it's great for the game, but I'm honestly not going to be like switching my strategy at all and now just putting all my resources and all my focus into building teams for these competitions. I'm just going to be doing what I want to do, which is I need to build an under 23 team. I do need to build an under 23 team for next season. So that's something I always need to do. And then, of course, if I build that under 23 team and then there's any players that can be played in under 21 Euros, great. But I'm going to be building my under 23 team for next season rather than thinking about I need to pick up an under 23 player now that can play in under 23 and also Euro 21. Because I'm not going to be buying these under 23 players that are probably now going to be spiking in price, right? With this big hype around this new release in the game. I'll wait until the hype dies down, and then I might start to look at picking up more players if it works in my gallery, basically. Thank you so much, guys. You'll be able to catch me in the Discord and on Twitch for the remainder of the evening. So I'll try to jump in the Discord as much as I can to answer your questions and just to chat with you guys, just to hang out with you guys. Plus, of course, it's the Europa Conference League final tonight, guys, so do not miss it. It's Fiorentina versus West Ham United, so it should be a pretty decent game. So yeah, I'll be watching that as I'll be putting the highlights together for you guys. Thank you so much for the incredible support, guys, and I will catch you all on tomorrow's stream.